Oh, wait, are we doing this? I guess we are. Alright. That's how that works. Here I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it turned out to be. Okay, y'all. Hi. Once again, another test stream. Today, I want to do some digital stuff. I talked about this the other day, and hey, why don't we watch my process as I work on the Legend of Redneck? That's the plan. Sorry if I'm like a little bit. I don't know. This OBS thing was flummoxing me. I guess that's the only proper way of putting it. I'm also a little bit flummoxed looking at like the 7 second delay. That that's really weird. Anyway, let's get started. All right. We're gonna be working in Clip Studio, and I just want to see how this looks on the little test screen. Wow, 7 seconds is a long time. Grab my stylus. Okay. I am using a. I'm not going to move the camera today because we had so many issues the other day with it. I'm using a Huion, Huion tablet. It works really well. It's very affordable comparatively, right? Because, usually, I don't know, Wacom tablets run anywhere between 2K, 3K, right? This Huion, it was like $500, maybe 600 tops. Pretty affordable comparatively, right? I like it. It works really well. It's a little janky in terms of how it works with certain applications, but I like it. I enjoy it. I'm not going to go into all the other details in my setup. Anyway, I will say I'll show you a little bit of my process. So before I even started like streaming, well, how do I YouTube's trying to talk to me. They're like, the stream bit rate is too low. All right, well, how do I use a stream bit rate? Okay. But then it's like, stream status is good. Come on. Anyway, like I was saying, let's talk a little bit about my process. So we're gonna go into my comics making process a little bit. We're going to see just sort of some of the things that I do. All right. So first of all, notebooks. They're important. This is I think I'm gonna open OBS so I can actually see what I'm doing rather than the 7 second delay. This is my little secret weapon for myself. Once again, like we were talking about the other day, I like working on paper. And so, like, I have these little janky thumbnails that I write, and most of my writing, I don't write scripts, I write thumbnails. And I'll write the dialogue. This is an episode that's pretty low on dialogue, quite frankly. I There's just not a lot of dialogue in this episode. There might not be a lot of dialogue in this stream. um, but usually what I'll do when I go write, I'll go to a coffee shop, just hang out, kind of soak in the atmosphere a little bit, and wait for all of the creative juices to get flowing, right? That usually takes a second. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens sort of over a period of time. And I've gotten into this place creatively where I'm willing to just like let a little bit of time pass, right? it's taken a while for me to get into that kind of comfort zone. I know it can be easy to feel like, oh, you know, I'm not getting anything done, time's being wasted, blah, blah, blah. After a while, I think for myself, once I started getting used to the rhythm of creativity, I stopped worrying as much about that. Nowadays, I worry more about like, oh, is all this technology gonna like properly function, right? So it goes. Um, so I know y'all probably want to watch me actually work on something, not just like talk, right? That's the idea. Ideally. Ideally. So let's do that. And we'll see what ideas come to me as we are working on this. I'm just trying to get this notebook set up. We're not gonna draw a whole page. I've been trying to take a hiatus from our small break from Legend of Redneck, but I do want to like at least show y'all what it looks like to draw a whole panel, right? And so maybe we'll just focus on drawing a panel today, and then we'll call it, you know? And I might do another stream later on tonight because I'm going to paint another dragon painting. And I kind of figure the more streams I do, the more like I'll work this streaming muscle, because I have a very weak streaming muscle currently. And it's just one of those things that requires a lot of repetition and growth and observation and just getting used to the process, right? So usually when I'm starting a panel out, and I'm going to be picking from a very simple panel. I should also say, before I even start drawing at all, I will usually do about 20 minutes of like gesture drawing, and you can find plenty of resources on the internet for that. You can just Google or do a word search for like life drawing online, and that'll bring up several sites. And so the one that I generally use is called Line of Action. It's pretty good. And it's perfectly set up that you can have like, you kind of warm up with a bunch of 30-second sketches, and you do like a minute, and then you do 5 minutes, and you do as long as you want on a drawing. This helps me warm up because I've noticed it helped me like really learn my anatomy better, and has given me a lot of confidence, and usually helps me build confidence within the day, because a lot of times I will kind of start the day on like a low confidence area, and so I need just getting all the bad drawings out. That's kind of the idea. And even after doing that, sometimes I'm still a little sluggish. Like, I haven't drawn comics in a week, so I know it's going to take me a while to kind of build up the momentum. And this panel that we're going to kind of work on today is more of a, I don't know, action pose kind of thing. So it might take me a second to like find the pose that I'm working on. And that happens, you know. Great thing about working digitally is you can Control Z all you want, right? That's also kind of the negative part of it too, is like, yes, you can Control Z all you want, but also you can Control Z all you want. So it can, in some sense, sort of keep you from committing to a drawing. And so it takes a while to like find that perfect rhythm, right? I wouldn't say I'm necessarily at that place where I found the perfect rhythm, but I do have enough of a rhythm now where it's like I can generally reliably expect some amount of like, you know, I had to redo that gesture. In fact, I'm probably have to redo this whole gesture. It's not as, I need a more, it's a little stiff, so. Or it's not stiff in the right way. Cause like, I'm drawing Hizzard and he's bowing up. He's like getting ready to fight. I need him to be a little more like, hunched. It wasn't hunched enough. It wasn't like looking ready to go. I think this will be better. He's also holding his axe, so like that's another thing that I need to like take into account. So sometimes it is better to just like work from the overall contour in terms of like filling up the page or the panel, I should say. Always the difficult part for me is sort of like figuring out hand positions because I have to redraw the axe. This part always takes forever. But this is like the most crucial part. This is what I call like gesture. This is where you're blocking your frame. You're figuring out like, okay, where does everything go on here? How does everything fit together? You also have to think about like where the word balloon's gonna fit, right? For those of y'all who have no idea what I'm working on or what I'm drawing, this is supply transformation, please. This is from my webtoon called The Legend of Redneck. The Legend of Redneck is inspired by and also has a lot of parody of, Legend of Zelda, but also a lot of like sword and sorcery type stuff. So it's a very fantasy oriented comedy, mostly comedy. There's a lot of action, there's some drama, there's some, really nice heartfelt moments. If you like well-written characters that have some amount of depth to them and like some interesting dynamics, check it out. Check out all of my work. Check out Trailer Park Warlock. That's another one I would highly recommend. I would recommend all of my work. I'm a little biased though. So in general, when drawing, start from general, go into specific, right? So now that I've gotten the main shape figured out, now I can start kind of figuring out what the fingers are going to look like, how they're going to be gripping this axe. Start working on like Hizzard's little spine things. I have to remember other details, like he's got his little strap here. How do I want that to drape around his chest, though? And I need to draw the rest of his face, too, because that's kind of important. And so you'll notice that I have I have a panel from a previously drawn episode. And that is, a way for me to reference and make sure that I'm doing that appropriately. I want to check something real quick. Oh, good. Okay. Back to where I was. All right. Get his face figured out. His emotion's going to be kind of like he's getting ready to fight here. Who's he fighting? Why is he fighting? I'm not going to say. And usually in this phase, it's not going to be like, that well. It's not going to be that. It's going to be kind of fuzzy, kind of funky, right? And the idea is you just slowly build a more coherent image over time. Alright, so that's that, and then next thing I want to do, I'm going to decrease the opacity on that layer, create another layer, and this will be like my, I don't know what you want to call it, refined pencil layer, right? So now we're going to go in and we're going to make it look better, mo better. And get all the like anatomy better figured out. Like so. Like so. And at this stage, I'm not ready to fully commit to everything, right? I'm just doing one more level of like better detail. And with the goal and intent of, you know, the next layer that I add, the next level up, basically, is like I'm now committing 100%. And we'll, you know, it's starting to shape up pretty fast. Yeah. I don't know if, I think his shoulders are huge, though. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's a good thing. And I'm probably going to end up working on this expression because I don't know if it really fits what I want. But that's why I'm doing like this many passes, is like it helps me figure out like, okay, is this enough detail? Is this too much detail? Yes, you can have too much detail, by the way. It is possible. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. Okay. You know, do the spines. And honestly, I kind of want to reference. I need better reference for his axe, so I'm gonna hold on a second. I need to find a file for reference because I didn't have it. I didn't have it earlier. Sorry, y'all. But I'm never like confident about how his get a better thumbnail. Okay. About how his axe looks. I constantly have to refer back to it. And it's one of these. One of these episodes. Yeah. Okay. So opening that file. And it's actually kind of small in that panel. It's actually like way too small in that panel. But it's also in, I don't know, it's foreshortened. That's my excuse. Anyway. So that gives me an idea of what his axe looks like. And then go in here. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to fix this in post. Alright. Just doesn't quite properly line up. So what I'm thinking is, hey, one of the great advantages of working digitally. I'll move this to the side. You can kind of cheat. And I just want to block out, make sure that I have the general shape of that shaft blocked out. Because I'm going to carry that forward to the next layer. So we're going to go to layer 3. And layer 3 is where I want to really lock in, lock in my line art. To make sure that strap is seen, is there. Shoulder. Okay. And, alright, I think we're ready. I just need to change to my pen, or my brush that I want to use. It is going to take a bit, because I got to find it. I think it's this one. So, I've been doing this thing recently where I use like different brushes for different for like action scenes. So usually for like the more chatty kind of goofball scenes, I'll use like I'll basically just use the Clip Studio dark pencil. It works pretty good for me. It gets the job done. For this, I want to for action panels, or if for different motional effects, I'll use like a different kind of line. And I find that this one works pretty well. The name of it is a Japanese name. I don't know. It was something I downloaded off of Clip Studio. So it's not, you could find it yourself. I don't know. I wish I knew what the name of it was, but like I said, it's in Japanese. But it's good. I like it. It's a good brush. So, oh look, I'm going to just use the line roller here for all the, hard shapes basically. I don't know if that's going to work. That might work. It's not perfect. The enemy of all art. Alright, that will probably work. It's always good to be a little bit fast and loose with your guides. Even add in a little bit of like, what do you call that? Noise. I guess that's the best word I have for it, noise. To make the line look more organic rather than make it look stiff and unnatural. I think anybody who works digitally, that's the main thing that they have. It's kind of challenging them in terms of like making the art look good. Unless you're going for that specifically, and there are reasons where you might be going for that specifically in a style. But generally, I think it's better to lean on making sure your art looks somewhat organic, right? Because usually if it doesn't look organic, people will notice that and say, oh, it looks off, or like something's not quite connecting here. And, people do notice that stuff, for sure. I definitely have noticed it when I've glanced at, new webtoons that come out, because a lot of them use, especially in the backgrounds, they'll use, not necessarily stock, but like Google SketchUp stuff. And I don't have an issue with people using Google SketchUp, but it's like the way they use it basically makes the backgrounds look kind of like prefab. You know, it's just not. It's just not a great look, I guess. I've definitely seen some artists who have done a really great job with it, and that's a talent that I don't fully understand. But that's okay. I don't have to understand it. I like drawing my own backgrounds. I think it makes the overall composition look of a piece, you know. It makes it all look together. What am I trying to do with this line? I don't know. This is like one of those things that does drive me nuts. Is when I do digital inking. Dang. All the control Zing because this I don't know, this line is weird. I'll come back to it in a little bit. I made the mistake of watching my test streams that I did yesterday, and so I became all too aware of sort of like glaring weaknesses or issues with my streaming quality. So for one, I don't have like a wind screen on my mic. So you can like hear all of my intake breaths as I'm talking, and like when I was listening to it, it was driving me nuts because like, dang, like. So I ordered some windscreens last night, but I also have another mic coming in that already has its windscreen, so it's like a higher quality mic. I don't know. That's gonna have to do. That's gonna have to work for that line. That line was bothering me. New challenges that have come from learning how to draw is, as of recently, is learning better posture. Turns out that's important as you get older. Some things that you can do if you are working on your posture. Yoga class is great. Actually, I phrased that like I had multiple things, but I really don't. That's all I have right now. Zazen meditation also helps, but that's not everybody's cup of tea. But yeah, learning how to sit up straight while drawing is like challenging, extremely challenging. Because something that I've become very aware of recently, as I've been doing a lot of like bodywork stuff, is that for some reason, my left hand, which is my Control Z hand, it like hitches up while I'm drawing. And so you may even see it during this stream or other streams. There'll be points where I become very aware of it. And so I'll try and like even it out and like put both of my shoulders down. Because like usually my shoulders are kind of hunched up a little bit from years of bad posture and lack of self-confidence. So it's just like to resolve that kind of issue, you just have to be aware of it and sort of over time you retrain your body neurologically to be used to that, to like being used to being in better posture. Kind of annoying, turns out. Kind of an annoying process. I want that finger more over the shaft so it looks like he's gripping it better. Which I think that works. And I might do some other effects here in a second. Question is, do I need a, yeah. Get his gnarly lizard fingernails involved. Alright. Okay. Inking is nice, though. I enjoy, I guess I'm calling that this phase. I mean, I'm calling it this right now because I'm using more of an ink brush, but like usually, like I said earlier, I'm using more of a dark pencil. And, you know, something that I was concerned about initially when I was doing like a dark pencil was how would it work in terms of flatting. Turns out it works fine. I thought it wouldn't work at all, like there would be issues. And I don't know, I mean, I guess there are slight issues in the sense that the pencil is like slightly translucent, so you can kind of see the flats underneath, but once you zoom out, it's not something that you notice at all. It like kind of all meshes and melds together. So, this brush that I'm using right now is more, I kind of like that. All right. Or something like, yeah, maybe that line. I think that works. It's more of a pretty stark black-white brush, although it does have little, or does it? Yeah, it does have little, I don't know if you can see that. We're just gonna go. You see those little like gray dots that's like aliasing. Not the biggest deal in the world. It's okay if that happens. Alright, I want to check something real quick. I'm just going... I want to check something, since this is a test stream, right? I want to make sure that it is working on... Sorry, y'all. But that's why we do test streams, right? Hopefully this doesn't... Okay. Alright, cool. Sorry. Just wanted to check. Make sure we were running appropriately. And then sometimes what I'll do, if there's like a line that I want to do and I don't want to like stop the line, so like you can see, I'm working on this line right here, and it goes underneath the axe. I kind of want it to be one whole line, so I'm going to just put a layer underneath this line art layer, right? And then like that. And that way I can easily just erase that line. And when I'm done with that, I'll just merge those two layers together. Voila. All right. Getting pretty close to done here. So, question I have for myself. Yeah, like that. I was like, I wanted the spike to overlap. which I have successfully done. All right. Okay, so something I don't like. I'm going to change the way his eye is positioned. Alright. Hold on. So much to manage. I don't know, it's just like something kind of seems off, so I want to fix that. Yeah, move his eye closer. Probably set up a line to do his chest strap thing. Yeah, okay. But then it continues over there. Alright. But then, okay. So, we do have a slight issue, and I think this could be an easy fix. This is what's called a tangent. And a tangent is when you have like two lines that represent different layers dimensionally that connect to each other. And what that does is that flattens out the image. So you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just nudge it down. Oh, there's just tangents all over the place. Yeah. That ought to work. And then I'm going to go in and just erase. And then do his little golden belt thing. Come on. I'm trying to get this. Create a new layer. Alright. Hey, that looks done. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, because this is Manga Studio and we have this, unique little tool at our disposal, I'm probably going to add an effect line here. I don't know, though. I don't know if it's going to be like that. I want something that's more... I don't know, we could try this. I think that could work. The only issue about doing stuff like this is like the committal time is a little bit steep. Because if I don't like it, I have to like go back and do all these changes. So I'm just gonna like take the wand tool and select all of Hazard's line art. Probably is not going to work perfectly. I'm going to have to go back and manually like erase a couple of things. But I got a lot. Oops. One right there. Okay. So voila. You know what? We might as well. We can do some coloring if y'all want. So let's do coloring since we have time for that. Alright, so first thing I do when I start coloring, I just put in like, it could be literally any color, but usually I try and do like a gray. Just a flat gray behind everything. And then I'm going to go in, and here's where I go and reference. And use the eyedropper to like pick up what colors I want to use. And we just, you know, good old Clip Studio fill bucket tool, and I need to make sure that I'm not doing that on the line art layer. God help me. Alright. There we go. And we'll get out a different brush, because I want something that's not aliased, or that is aliased. Hey Varb, see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Ooh, I have a line that I missed. I forgot part of his glove. There we go. All right. So we just fill in like so. And I see another little area. All right, fill in the gloves. Fill in the buckle. So once again, I talked about this the other day. Hazard, he is a 3-color scheme. 3 main colors, right? It's a blue. It's this kind of weird purplish gray that you probably can't even really see because it's very close to the background flat fill, but you'll notice it once we, once we get into the nitty-gritty here. So like I was saying, okay, we have the blue, the gray, and the orange. Now, granted, this this gray and this orange is a color that's on a lot of characters who are like the, Ganondorf's minion characters. So like Loretta and Judy also have it along with their own personal colors. So like Judy is the red tone for her. Look, we can just reference it right here. For her flesh, the orange, which is her helmet and the little kind of gold metal parts, and the gray, same for Loretta. So the things that kind of separate them are more their flesh tones, right? And that sort of has to do more with the fact that they're all Ganondorf's minions, so they're all, color coded appropriately. All right, and I need the color for that axe shaft, which does not look appropriate. This doesn't look like. Oh, that's because the axe is actually that color. All right. I need to choose a color for the background, and considering, I'm not going to say what's happening, but considering the content of this page, I probably want to go for something that's like a red to imply, upcoming violence. And I'm going to set a layer over that, and this is going to be my, I don't know, brush layer, effects layer, I don't know what to call it. But this is just going to be another layer. It's always good to separate into layers because if you need to make changes on the fly, right, this makes it easier to do. All right. And I'm probably going to do like a light yellow. And I want to use... I love using the dry gouache brush. It has a pretty good effect. I usually you kind of fiddle around with it and like erase bits and whatnot. And I'm still, there's other, right? There's a lot to go on with this process, but this is part one. Part one of many. Actually, really, I'm surprised by it. It didn't really take a whole lot, and that looks pretty good. I think that I want a little more, I want this to be a little bit lighter in the background. And then I'm going to go here, and I think I'm going to just slightly darken this top space. Maybe a different, like that. Maybe not. I didn't necessarily like the way that looked. Maybe it just needs to be a more violent red. Yeah. Okay. So that's the background. That's locked in. Next, we're going to do shadows. And this is where I just start selecting all of the flats that I have set up, right? And I need to find the brush I like to use for this. And I need to figure out what color am I going to use with this. Probably greenish. And this is going to be a multiply layer. Put it at about around 50%. It doesn't have to be exact. So just start putting in all those shadows. And we'll have the shadow from the axe falling over him. Complexities have developed. Like so. Yeah, I'm looking at this like, does it quite line up? For the most part, yeah. For the most part, yes. But not 100%. Oh, whoops. I was working on the flats layer. That's not good. Let's change that. Trying to figure out, like, what else am I missing here? You know, not everything needs to have, like, a shadow necessarily. But you do want to try and make it look like there's a shadow being cast as much as possible. Alright, so that's all of shadow work. Alright, next, and this might be the final part actually, because this is not as it's not as complex of a panel. Alright. What I'm doing, sorry, I didn't even explain what I was doing. I'm taking like a soft eraser and I'm just adding a little bit of gradation to those shadows. So I just think it looks nice. I was going to try and explain. I don't really have an explanation. I just think it looks nice. That's all. And then I think the next thing I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take an airbrush and just softly add a little bit of like ambient light in areas. Not everywhere, but just a couple of areas. So like back here to the axe. Maybe add a little bit of red over here. Yeah, I don't know. That's not. I don't know if that's working like I wanted it to. Yeah, that's done. That is a finished panel. Remember, I did save, so that's good. All right. This is our finished panel for our first OBS test stream. Hopefully the last test stream in the beginning of, like, you know, actual streams. You know, eventually, I guess we will do actual streams and try and be professional about this. We'll see. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this and learned something. And if you haven't learned something, that's fine too. Hopefully you were entertained, enjoyed the process, and we will do this again soon. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'm going to say bye. All right. See y'all later. Bye-bye.